It's the Morning Star Drive 117.8. You soaring up with sky, now's the time, don't delay. I'm sitting in my ride and it's time to fly. So let's realign, just listen and fill your mind.
Hey guys, how is it going? And welcome to the Morning Star Drive on 117.8. It is Wednesday, August 7th, and so happy for you joining us. We are ready to start another day together with the Lord. So subscribe to us on YouTube, follow us on SoundCloud, and make sure to support us on Patreon. So today we have an exciting podcast for you. We have Health is Happiness, the Evangelism Scripts Word Study, and of course commentaries, updates, and news on what is happening around the world in this history today. All right, everyone, how are you doing? And yes, it is a wonderful, wonderful Wednesday. I hope that you guys have enjoyed your week. And of course, we have Wednesday service tonight. I hope you guys will enjoy that too. Don't forget, tomorrow is Q&A Thursday. We have it every single week, so get those questions ready. Send them to me whenever you can. And if you haven't yet, leave a like and comment for today's video. Yes, click that like button and also leave a comment. We'd love to hear how you guys are doing. I am just super happy for everyone joining us every weekday on the Morning Star Drive. So let's get up and support each other each and every day. This week's Sunday message title is God, the Holy Spirit, and the Lord all appear when you testify. All right, everyone, how was your week? It's already the middle of the week, and basically the first week of August is already done. I hope you guys are doing well. Today is going to be my third day with my new mission, and how interesting it has already been. Going to be honest with you guys, still in disbelief that I'm already here in Korea, and never would have thought this would have happened. Never would have thought this would have happened, honestly, right? Man, I'm thankful about it though. One thing I'm very, very thankful about is that this happened so quickly. I think it's something that I should be thankful. Like when I have too much time to think about something, I'll probably struggle over it even more. And it would probably make it even harder for me to transition over. And maybe I wouldn't even do it because it would be too gradual. For me, I think for something like this, the quick change is better. For me, in my character, in this situation, I think it was better and easier for me to handle because of how comfortable I was before. That quick change, I think, was a better situation for me. So I'm thankful that I'm able to quickly change over. The shock is big, but I think I'll be able to move in. I think in the long run, it was better for me, right? Quick shock, get over it, and then just move forward. Let me go over day one with you because day one was quite interesting. It's the first day of my mission. And if I had one word to describe what day one was like, the word is overwhelming. Yeah, like it was so overwhelming. I was like paralyzed, like, understandably so, like how quick things have changed. But there's just so many things that need to be done, and things are just piling on top of each other. Like when I get here, it's like, oh, you don't have a place to stay. We got to find you a place. All right. Oh, we need to find you a car. Okay. Oh, I don't have a phone. Like I don't have a phone number and stuff yet. Okay. I don't know what my mission is. I don't have access to the building. You need your key cards. You need to get the gate card. You need to get this, you get that. And there's just so many things that were just piling on top of each other. And it's interesting because, when you make a list, you don't see the list as in like what is important or how long something takes. You just look at the list and you're like, oh my gosh, there's like 30 things on that plate. And you just look at how many things there are. And it just, your brain kind of melts down. And one thing on top of the other, it makes me overwhelmed. And when you're overwhelmed, you become a little bit emotional. And then some things you just don't understand, right? It's just a natural thing. And what actually happened to me on day one, of course, I didn't show it with my face, but internally, I just shut down. I just shut down completely. My brain was full. That my mind just shut down, and I didn't want to accept any more things into my brain. I just didn't want it. right? It was like there was like a backlog in my brain when I'm just listening, do this, do this, do this. We still got to do this. We still haven't done this. And I was just like, what? And I just shut down. I didn't want to think about anything. I was like, what? And it was because, I'd have all these meetings and learning about what I'm supposed to do. And it was just so many things that came into my brain that I think there was a little short circuit that happened. I'm just like, eh. And, after the day ended and it was day 2, I kind of thought to myself as, you know what? You just got to take things on one by one. And, when you kind of look at the list that I had, I realized, some things are going to take time. Like, my mission's going to take time. Obviously, it's going to take time. I'm not going to be able to get it all done in one shot, in one day, in 1 week, 1 month, or even a year. There's just a lot of things I need to do. There's some things that I need to get done that I don't need to get done right now, but I just need to get done within the first month, right? There are some things I need to get done this week. And when I kind of broke it down, I was like, you know what? Let me just work on the things I need to get done this week, right? The phone is easy. Working on getting a car, working on getting this and that. And, once I start to see, I got my access card. I need to get my remote. There's all these things I look at like, okay, no problem. These are things that I can slowly get done. The other things can't get done anyways. So, what's the point of me even really, struggling over it? And, the best thing that I realized at that time was just kind of take the list, break it down into what I can get done right now and what I can't, right? Just knocking them down one at a time. And, I think that's something that we should be able to do, especially when we have too many things on our plate and so many things that we need to work on. But let's just knock them out one by one. Right, so people are helping me out with different parts. And have I found a car? Pretty much, I should be able to find a car. I got my access key already. I'm done with that. Right. All it is now is within the next couple of weeks, I just got to find a place to stay. Phone I'll be getting done by today, anyways. Right. So the most important thing for me in the long run, right, is for me. Working out my mission and finding out how to do it, right? And how Sunseam wants me to do it too. And I think that this is something that a lot of us just kind of go through in life. And when so many things come at us at once, I think the best thing we can do is start to knock them down one at a time, small things first, just so you take more and more things off the plate instead of looking at this entire plate at the same time. So, I think if you guys are going through something similar right now, just start taking things off the plate one by one. Take things off, things that are super easy. And, like I said, I was just too overwhelming was an understatement of what my first day was here. Because think about this. On top of it, I'm in a brand new environment, brand new country. I've moved and packed my entire life. I think I was more than overwhelmed. I was like, I don't know what the right word is. I think I went, if I were to quote Tropic Thunder, I went full yeah, maybe I won't say the R word, but I was like, my brain was drained, right? And just getting accustomed to so many things at the same time. So much uncertainty, but slowly now, and as I see over even the last 24 hours, things are being taken care of, and it's really, really relieving. Right? So yeah, all the small stuff getting done one by one right now. And like I told you, I got my access card. Guess what I felt? I felt relief. Like, wow, that's done. Right? What's next to get, for me to get rid of? What's the next thing I need to take care of right now too? So even though there's a ton of moving parts, just got to get the things done I can get done right now and know that those are the quick things. And there's going to be some things that are going to take a little bit of time in the future. So, for me, I'm still recovering from the quick life change, basically. I know it's time to push forward. I know it's time to get super accustomed super quickly. And I think you guys would probably agree with me. The one thing about Korea that we would all agree with is Korea is super fast. Like everything is done fast. It's almost impatiently fast. You know what I mean? Fast. Let's get this done. They'll tell me like, yeah, take your time, but don't take too much time, right? They understand that I've moved my life over here. I am not Korean. So these are things that I look at as like, yeah, it's like this, but it's, we got to get over it quick. We got to move forward. And it is super fast here. And what makes it even more difficult, and I'm going to tell you this, Malaysians are going to agree with me when I say this, but Malaysia is the opposite extreme of Korea. Korea is super fast. Malaysia is super slow and relaxed and chill. Yes, Malaysians, are you out there? If you're listening to this podcast, let me know in the comment section that I think you would agree that it's pretty slow in Malaysia, right? Very, very slow and chill and relaxed, right? Korea is impatiently fast to the point, sometimes I wonder, is it really necessary to be this fast, right? But I do think, there's always pros and cons for everything, whether you're slow or fast. But I think one thing that is the greatest benefit of Korea being so fast is that's why they're able to run together with Sunseem like so quickly. They just move so quickly with God's inspiration. They make, they're really doing it in such a way that, when you guys have all been around Sunseem sometimes where he moves at the speed of God, which means that when God inspires, he goes. When things change because God says do something differently, he just goes, right? And I think that's something that we can learn a lot from when it comes to Korea being this fast, right? And I think that's something that, that most countries should learn, especially when it comes to being with like Sunseem and being with, Sorry, I just yawned. Right now I'm in my office at the moment recording. First time recording in my office, but very, very thankful that there is even an office here. But I think they move at the speed of light. They move so fast here. And it's just something I need to get used to. I've been in Korea before. I've lived here for 5 years at the Lord's Church when I was here in 2010. So it's not like it's something that I've been like freaked out by kind of thing, right? It's just something that I look at and say, yep, this is the life I'm going to have to get used to, at least for the meantime, right? If there's anything that the biggest thing I'm not used to, because I've been so chilled and relaxed while I was in Malaysia, the biggest thing that's really weird for me is coming to the office. Like I have, there's the Songgyo Center, the place where IMD has their office and stuff. Me coming in here every day and I'm here before 9 a.m., that's weird for me. It's almost like I have a job, right? And it is difficult for me at the moment because I don't have the full job scope and I'm just getting into it. So I'm not sure exactly all the things I need to do. But, coming into the office every day or coming in 5 days a week and stuff like that too, I think it's just going to take some time for me to adjust. It's not that it's bad. It just takes time to adjust. I don't have the full scope of my job, my mission. I don't have the full view of what I'm supposed to be doing, and I got to kind of, adjust into it. So here I am just trying to figure out exactly what I'm supposed to do, right? So that is something that, it's something that I do need to get used to. It is something that I do want to adjust myself to also. But, as I was talking to some leaders here too, I think there's something that when we were talking, there's something that I was reminded of when I was a head leader. When I was a head leader, one thing very, very interesting was, as a head leader, you're trying so hard to be good at everything. You got to be good at this, got to be good at that. And, it's so overwhelming that you feel so much pressure. And I'm just like, oh, can I do all these things, right? But one time there was a tour and there was a touring pastor that came from Korea. And they said something that was very, what's the right word? It was very eye-opening to me. And what I have talked about this before. I think I've talked about this before. But what this leader said was, when Sunseem gives you a mission, or when God gives you a mission, they're not telling you that you have to be super perfect in every single thing, because we can't be. That's just not, no one is like that, right? But there is something specific. There is a specific reason why God has given you that mission. And you need to pray to find out what exactly that is, right? So even it made me think to myself as, even for me coming as IMD director right now, what is that thing? That one thing that God wants me to accomplish with this job? Like, what is that thing? I got to figure this out. And, there is a specific reason why Sunstein wants me here. There's a specific reason or something that he wants me to do during this time. And the thing that's kind of comforting to me is, and I think this is kind of interesting, that, they're telling me that one thing that comforts some leaders is when they say to themselves, hey, we're not going to be in this position forever. Who knows? We could be gone tomorrow. It's possible, right? And, for me, I was like, that's not comforting. That's more like, oh my gosh, I'm going to always be on the edge. That is not a comforting thing for me. But I realized the comforting thing that I can say to myself is, I just need to figure out exactly why God wants me here and get that accomplished, and I'll be fine after that. Like, even if I even if I step down, even if I'm done, as long as I get that thing done, I am happy, right? And that's all I need to do. So I'm hoping that I can fulfill the will that God has for me in this position, a very specific thing that he wants me to do. And once I can get that done, I am happy. I'm done. I don't need to do anything else, kind of thing. So that is something that I'm looking at, and that kind of comforts me in a very positive way. Yeah, don't you think it's kind of, I don't know, to me it sounds negative to say, hey, I can be gone tomorrow, so, do the best I can. No, for me, that's kind of like a scary thing. That it reminds me of oh, you don't know if you'll get cut tomorrow kind of thing. I don't want to think that way. For me, that's too much, it puts too much fear in my heart. For me, it's more of, hey, let's just figure out exactly what God wants, and let's get that done. And if I can get that done, I'll be happy to quit anytime after that. But let's just figure out exactly what God wants me to do in this position. As IMD Director of Western Countries, what does God really, really want me to do? And that's the thing that I want to figure out. And that's the thing I want to accomplish. And that's it. Once I get that done, I'm happy, right? I can step down. I can be fired. I can be anything at that time. I'm happy to get that one thing done. And, I also remember from that time we had that tour, that when that touring pastor was there, they didn't just say, you as the leader have to figure out why God wants you in that position. But this leader also said to the congregation, you also need to figure out why God has put that leader there. And then if you figure that out, then you can support that leader properly to fulfill that will that they specifically have in that position. So even for me, I'm like, hey, it's not just me trying to figure it out, but also if everyone can figure it out together, like the countries that I work with, then not only can I do my mission, but they can support me in my mission too, to get it accomplished exactly what the will that Sunstein wants for me in this position too. So that is something that I think it's something that we all have to pray about together. Praying about means that, not only is it just me figuring it out, but it's also what God, us figuring out why God wants me here, praying for me, and also when I go over to figure out what I need to go, say when I start touring and stuff like that too, people will understand, this is what he's meant to do here, right? So let's support this the best we can, right? So, that's something that for me, it is super comforting. It really is. So I hope that this can be something that I can very much do well. I was talking to Pastor Baker the other day, just yesterday, and one thing did come up. And it's interesting because he was asking me, hey, you're going to still do MSD? I was like, yeah, I'm still going to do MSD, right? And he said, I basically told him, I'll do MSD until Sunstein tells me to stop, right? And he's like, yeah. He's like, you know what? He told me that's the best attitude, right? Because in the same way, he's like, there could be a specific purpose that MSD is here for. And if Sunstein says stop, then, You've done what you've done the good. You've already helped tons of people for 2023. And when he said this, it kind of reminded me what I talked about last year. Because remember last year in 2023, when all the things were going through and then everything kind of finished and settled down after 2023, one of the things I did say is like, hey, it almost feels like God was preparing me on this podcast for this very moment, for 2023. And the reason it reminded me of it is because what if that was the purpose of MSD? Right? Like, what if? I'm not saying it is. I'm saying, what if that was the very purpose? So that means that if I finish my purpose of MSD, then it's done, right? Then I shouldn't be like, oh my gosh, I got to keep doing this. No, because if the purpose is fulfilled, then the purpose is fulfilled, and I should be happy with that, right? So that is something that I was thinking about. I was like, yeah, think about it. If Sunseem says, oh, no, you've done your job, very good job, you've done well, so let's move forward, and I want you to focus on this mission, I would be super happy that I fulfilled what God wanted even through MSD. Right? So, even for me, I will discuss with Sunseem, hey, Sunseem, this is what I'm doing right now. And right now at this moment, I'm still capable of doing this. It's helping a lot of people. And, what do you think about this or what do you think about that kind of thing, right? And I will discuss with him, right? And this is something that I think all of us agree is that Sunseem says, oh no, you've completed your mission for MSD. I think all of us would, of course, would be sad, like, oh, I miss MSD and I'm going to miss listening to it in the mornings, whatever it is. But can you imagine how great that feeling is for Sunseem to say, you've fulfilled the will through MSD and now it's time to move. Like, I'd be like, wow. So I did fulfill it. I did do exactly the whole reason why it exists. That's awesome kind of thing, right? So that is something that I was looking at and saying, yeah, this is kind of like, that's something that I look forward to. And this is something that, if the time comes where Sunseem says it's done, hey, guess what? It's done. And I'm happy with it. And I have no problems with it either. So that is something that I am preparing myself to is, yeah, there could be a moment where Sunseem says stop. And I don't want to be sitting there like, what? How come I've put 4 years of effort into this, over 1,000 episodes, and this, and this, right? So that is something that I think I really, really want to, I want to emphasize this is I will report everything I need to report about MSD and stuff like that too. And whatever Sunseem says, and it's done, right? I think we'd all agree with that too. So I am very grateful and very thankful. And I'm not saying that I'm going to stop. I'm just saying that if, it was from that conversation is, yeah, if he says stop, it's great. I'm fine. If I fulfill exactly what I'm supposed to do through that podcast, I'm fine too, kind of thing, right? So, yeah. So a bunch of great conversations I was having the other day also too. And it's kind of interesting because, Pastor Baker's over here, so it's a lot, and he's in the same area right now. Really easy to meet up, really easy just to talk and stuff like that too. So, familiar face is good to have, right? I was actually listening to Jordan Peterson podcast, and he said something so profound about lying. Like, he was able to break down lying into 2 points. It's like, why do people lie? Right? And you never look at it this way, but he's like, yeah, there's 2 reasons why people lie. People lie to get something they don't deserve. And people lie to avoid a punishment they deserve. And when just that one sentence, like this one thing that he said made me realize why God hates lying. And, when you look at the Bible, God is all about being fair and just. Get according to what you have done, which means you shouldn't get something you don't deserve, and you should get the punishment you do deserve. And lying gets you out of those 2 things, right? And if God is a fair God, of course, that's why he would hate lying. Both reasons for lying is about getting or not getting what you deserve or don't deserve. Receiving a blessing you don't deserve, or not receiving a punishment you do deserve. And it was really interesting the way he looks at lying and the way he broke it down. And basically the key point he was saying is tell the truth. No matter how hard or how much it hurts, you've got to tell the truth. Be accountable for what you have done. If you didn't do it, say you didn't do it. But if you did it, say you did it. Receive the punishment you deserve and don't get the blessing you don't deserve, right? And that was something that I thought that was really profound. And I hope it's something that you guys can really understand also. All right. So that is something that I was looking at and I was like, really? Oh, that's interesting. That's really something that I never looked at it in that way. And I hope that kind of opens your mind also to about lying and looking at it in a different light. Okay. So yeah, that's it, guys. That's segment number 1 for me. Hope you guys really enjoyed that. I went over my day 1 of my IMD director position. And I hope there's a lot of insight in there and a lot of honesty that helps us to kind of look at ourselves properly too. Okay? So there it is, guys. That is today's segment number 1. Of course, we have the evangelism scripts next. If you have any questions or anything else or comments, leave it below. But first, let's get into the first music break of the day.
Just like the rest, I walked in death, not knowing the value of a single breath. My pride was the biggest prize I had to protect, walking around high and mighty, sticking out my chest. Calling the shots like I know what's best, living how I like, but I piled up a debt. Outside's alive and aware the inside is dead, and suddenly truth shined just like the dawn. All things in life I knew 0%, then I realized how far I was gone. Wasn't right about anything, I was dead wrong. Everything thought to be reality was a fallacy. My life wasn't great, it was a tragedy. All I knew was fake, I thought I'm losing my sanity. All the while gazing at me was the Trinity, looking with love, grace, and mercy. Patiently working consistently with me, and eventually brought me to the new history. I learned about someone new whom they used. He worked with heaven and I learned his stories. He is living proof that the Bible's words are true. On the scene at 15, splitting every single seam. God's words flow from him like he's a stream, preaching to the point that even his throat would bleed. The most impressive person I have ever seen. Him speaking the truth revealed everything to me. Parables, holy son, soul entity, spiritual universe. Frankly, I don't think he's done. He's taught me 1,000 tons, too much for a single verse. This is so amazing to the point I may burst. I'm sure he's the one the Bible said would come. Where else would this earth-shattering word come from? Then I really realized he is the Messiah, sent to the world and raise humanity a level higher. Didn't come to destroy, but the word is the fire. Amen to the very end, my faith won't expire. He's been going 79 years and hasn't tired. Due to that condition, the greatest blessing we've acquired. Between him and the Trinity, that time was finally captured. I'm sure now that they got their bride, nothing can match her. Rapture, that's what we received. Was evangelized, lectured, managed, now I believe. Never knew this was something I could achieve. Your blessings really flow endlessly. I promise you, I'll never leave. So I'll stay with you to the death of me. With you I've fulfilled my destiny. Now I'll reboot, give you the best of me. Offering my youth, running even faster. For me and so many, you're not just a pastor. You're the shepherd over all these pastures. King of kings, Lord of lords, that's for sure. We're a perfect match, a hand and a glove. The atmosphere in the air is full of love. Came from above to hold the banquet. So I'll GGG eternally for 316. Just cause I was swept into the net of the word, heard and learned, doesn't mean it's over yet. I really need to look at myself and reflect, line up against God's perfect law and check. All my flaws need to be resolved. Be bold to slanderers when I try to call. Like him, I'm thankful for tribulations, cause I didn't fall. With the rapture, I'm standing tall. The love they give is truly priceless. If I'm not with the Lord, life enters crisis. Without him, I'm a ship that's wrecked to pieces. So I'll always eat the word, box of Reese's. Stick to him, red blood cell and Reese's. I praise God for sending Son, sing him, and Jesus. He had a plan for them before they were a fetus, to reveal to the world heaven's deep secrets. With his name, bring the pain, breaking Satan's noses. With the Lord's condition, let's show him a comatosis. While looking at heaven, never losing focus, conversing in our thoughts every single moment. Then our spiritual rapture will never be stolen. If you only see strife, come see what peace is. If you want to know heaven, come and see this. If life were an essay, this is the thesis. Rapture, that's what we received. Was evangelized, lectured, managed, now I believe. Never knew this was something I could achieve. Your blessings really flow endlessly. I promise you, I'll never leave. So I'll stay with you to the death of me. With you I've fulfilled my destiny. Now I'll reboot, give you the best of me. Offering my youth, running even faster. For me and so many, you're not just a pastor. You're the shepherd over all these pastures. King of kings, Lord of lords, that's for sure. We're a perfect match, a hand in a glove. The atmosphere in the air is full of love. Came from above to hold the banquet. So I'll GGG eternally for 316. Remember, this wasn't given for free, so always hear the word and do good deeds. Praising those that saved us is an amazing thing, and live with them in love. 1 John 3:18. Be like him, always run on God's team. If you live like him, you'll surely succeed. Believe him, absolutely, and gotta let you pass. If you want the greatest salvation, walk this only path.
All right, so let's get into today's evangelism scripts word study, and I do have a new one that I thought about that would help out a lot of people when it came to evangelism on campus. And it's kind of interesting because now that I do have this new position, it makes me think more about how I can help to raise or train people to become evangelists, right? And like I was telling you guys the last couple of weeks, I do talk to younger members, and a lot of times they feel that they don't know exactly what to say, so they don't know how to evangelize. They basically just invite people to events, which is completely different than like straight up evangelism, which I think we do need a bit of for both sides, right? So here's something that I do think that it's going to be very beneficial for all of us here too. And I'm going to go into an evangelism script that is not complete, which meaning it's more there kind of like a teaser trailer that makes people think more deeply and makes them want to learn more about the Bible or what the Bible's actually saying or meaning. Okay? So let me get into this. It's evangelism scripts, and I'm going to go over the Tower of Babel. Okay? So I have gone over this lesson before, but I do want to talk about it in a very trailer-like way, giving you kind of bits and pieces to make people think more deeply about the words of God, okay? So, Tower of Babel, we all know the story that after the flood, many people got together and decided to build this huge tower so that they could make a name for themselves all around the world, right? So what happened here is a lot of people or Christians would say that language originated from the Tower of Babel because in this story, everyone was speaking the same language, and at the very end of it, God changed all their languages and scattered them around the world, and this is why there are so many languages, okay? So there's a couple things that I would bring up. I would start off with, did language originate from the Tower of Babel? Because it says that God confused the language, and they all were scattered all around the world. This is why we have languages like Chinese and Japanese and Korean and English and stuff like that too. Now, this would be a huge misunderstanding because if we were to think about the story of the Tower of Babel, it happens right after the flood. So the flood is 1,600 years later, which means that it's about 4,300 years ago, right? So about 4,300 years ago, people are saying, according to the Bible, that there was only one language, and then after the Tower of Babel, all the languages began to spread all around the world. Now, let's take a look at some of the issues and problems that have to make us think deeply or more differently about the Bible and how we interpret it. Firstly is this. What language was the original language, right? So people, like the Jewish people would say that it was Hebrew that was spoken. But let's get into it. So when we look at the three oldest languages that we know of at this time, all three languages are roughly 5,000 years ago, or they predate the Tower of Babel by about how many years? By about 700 years. It's Tamil, Sanskrit, and Egyptian. And those three languages are 5,000 years old, where this story is 4,300. So we already have three languages in the world by that time. So even then, it kind of breaks the theory of there was only one language, and then after the Tower of Babel, it's split into three, right? So this doesn't really make sense there either, right? But let's go a little deeper into the scripture itself. And the big hint of what this Tower of Babel actually means is in verse 6. And what verse 6 says is, if as one people speaking the same language, right? So basically God is saying, if they are united, speaking the same language, then nothing for them is impossible, right? So the thing that I would bring up to people is, being united and speaking the same language are two completely different things. Why? Here's a question I'd give you is, just because you speak the same language, does that make you united? And the answer is absolutely not. Just look at America right now. They're all speaking English, but they're fighting, right? Especially politically. They're fighting like crazy. So just the fact that you speak the same language doesn't make you united. And on the flip side, you could say that just even if you don't speak the same language, you can still be united also. And one of the points that I would give up that's happening right now in the world is actually the Olympics, right? In the Olympics, you can have people that may not like each other in regular life, but when the badminton match comes on, all of Malaysia is watching because they are united by their country, right? So when it comes to unity, unity is not about language. Language can help in unity, but they are two different things. People are united when they have the same heart. People are united when they believe in the same thing or have the same goal, right? So the question that comes to mind is, what does it mean what is this same language they had that made them united? And what does it mean that God confused their language and spread them around the world, right? And when we listen to this, people will be like, oh, that's interesting. Yeah, that's so true. Just because you speak the same language doesn't mean you're united, right? Just because you all speak Chinese, just because you all speak English or Italian or Spanish, are you going to say that because you speak the same language, you're united? And the answer is absolutely not. And this is why this would bring up a really good topic of conversation, and it would help us to kind of help people to be, oh, that's an interesting thing I would like to know. And if you would like to know, come to Bible study, right? So that's kind of the way that I would kind of bring this up. I'm not sure what you guys think about this, but I think there's a lot of different ways that you can evangelize even without knowing the answer. So imagine you can't teach the Tower of Babel properly, but you know someone else who can. So what's the best way to do it? The best way is just learning why something doesn't make sense. And then when you hear why it doesn't make sense, when you tell other people, they'll be like, oh yeah, that doesn't make sense. Oh, so what's the answer? And you'd be like, well, we're having a Bible study, this, and this. If you want to come join us, come listen in. Right? So I would say that this would be another good way of doing it. Like, for instance, I told you before when it comes to Adam and Eve being the first people on earth, then we look at like, what was that verse I told you? Was it Genesis chapter 4, verse 15, I believe, right? And here it says that when Cain is casted out, he's like, oh, people are going to kill me. But in verse 15, God's like, nope. Anyone who kills Cain will suffer vengeance 7 times over, right? Then the Lord put a mark on Cain so that no one who found him would kill him. And the answer is, if Adam and Eve and Cain are the only 3 people remaining on earth, what does it mean that people will find him and kill him, right? It doesn't make any sense. And then, of course, in verse 17, he finds a wife, or not verse 17, in verse 16, he goes to a town with the actual name. which means you can't name a town without actually having people living in it. Where did his wife come from? So when you look at this, you kind of bring up these things that are like, that don't make sense. And you bring this up to the people and they'll be like, oh, I never thought about that. And when it makes them think more deeply. And for those that are really looking for the words of God more, even more, they'll be the ones that say, you know what, I want to learn the word. Now, this doesn't guarantee that they'll study the word completely. It just gets a foot in the door to see whether these people are ready or not to listen to the word, right? So that is one of the ways and one of the styles that I would use. And I would use the Tower of Babel. If that's something that you think works for you guys, that'd be great, right? And yeah, you know what? I do think we should have some type of evangelism Bible, not Bible, but handbook to help people, to bring people to listen to the word, right? When they go direct evangelism. Either way, so that is something that I really, that I wanted to bring up for you guys. Hope it's something that really helps you guys out also on this wonderful Wednesday. If you have any questions or any other things that you want to bring up for evangelism scripts, go ahead, put it in the comments below. Love to hear it. All right. So that means that we only have health is happiness left, but we'll go into, first we'll go into the last music break of the day.
Sincerely I pray, please forgive all my sins. Please forgive me, please don't leave my side. Take me as your own. If alone I wander, death will carry me away. Anxiously, won't you, Lord, wash my sins away? Lord, if you make me clean. I'll live my life only for you, my Lord. I will give my life to you. I'll live by your word alone, loving you, Lord. I will fulfill rapture through love, and for all time I will live always by your side. I'll live my life only for you, my Lord. I will give my life to you. I'll live by your word alone, loving you, Lord. I will fulfill rapture through love, and for all time I will live always by your side. I'll live my life only for you, my Lord. I will give my life to you. I'll live by your word alone,
Okay, so let's get into our final segment for today's Wednesday podcast. And of course, we have Health is Happiness. And we're going to go into another series, a rerun, but another series that is very important for our health. And we're going to talk about health tips for those in our 20s and those in our 40s and those in our 50s. This will be done by Dr. Zinni over there in Canada and also Yin Yu over there in Singapore. So I hope you guys will enjoy this. We're going to start off with the three-part series on health tips for your 20s, which I think a lot of us are going to be in right now. And of course, I think a lot more are going to be looking forward to health tips for 40s and 50s. All right. So here we are, guys. This is Dr. Zinni over there in Canada. Please welcome Dr. Zinni with Health is Happiness.
Hi everyone, Dr. Zinni here, and welcome to another episode of Health is Happiness. So we've heard some requests from listeners about what topics to cover in this segment. Today we're going to discuss one of them. That is, what are some important ways to take care of our health in our 20s and 30s? Essentially, what should we do now while we're young so we can be healthy when we're older? So I'm going to go over some tips for your health that you can apply in this age group. It would be great if you could integrate this into your daily life to help you form healthy habits early on. For those who are beyond this age group, no worries. Whatever you do now can still have a positive impact on your health in the future. So heart disease and stroke are still the leading causes of death worldwide, according to the World Health Organization. Diabetes, cancer, and infectious diseases were also on the list of top 10 causes globally. A lot of times when people start having high cholesterol, blood pressure issues, or diabetes, a lot of these effects happen in your 30s and 40s, but they're actually caused by the cumulative effects of what you did decades before. Your 20s are a really good time to start lowering your risk of diseases. Luckily, there are practical ways to lower your risk of heart and stroke, diabetes, and cancer early on. The first one is to eat better. Prepare your meals at home and learn how to cook. In your 20s, it's helpful to learn how to cook so you can choose what ingredients you put into your food and you can control what you take into your body. And when I say cook, I don't mean just reheating processed foods. You can start by adding foods high in antioxidants every day, as these help reduce the risk of heart disease, type 2 diabetes, and cancer. So what are antioxidants? Why do they help to reduce diseases? Antioxidants are compounds produced in your body and also found in foods. They help to defend your cells from damage caused by potentially harmful molecules called free radicals. A little bit of science here. Free radicals are highly unstable and reactive molecules. They're unstable because they're missing an electron. The free radicals collide with your cells in an attempt to steal an electron, and this may damage your DNA and other important structures in your cells in the process. Free radicals occur as a result of normal metabolic processes. For example, when your body uses oxygen, it creates free radicals as a byproduct. When free radicals accumulate, they cause oxidative stress. Imagine an apple that ripens and then decays and then rots. That's similar to what oxidative stress does to your body. Oxidative stress is when you have too many free radicals and not enough antioxidants. Antioxidants are important molecules that neutralize these free radicals, so they protect your cells from that damage. These antioxidants essentially can donate an electron to these free radicals without becoming a free radical itself. Our bodies make a small amount of antioxidants, but relies on our diet to get the rest that we need. When you're young and healthy, your body does a pretty good job of dealing with these free radicals, and you won't even notice anything. But if you don't eat right, you smoke, or you're exposing yourself to a lot of environmental sources of free radicals, your risk for cellular and organ damage goes up. And as you age, your free radical defense mechanisms start to taper. Free radicals in the environment are things like exposure to tobacco smoke, UV, chemicals such as asbestos and vinyl chloride, viruses, air pollution, radiation. Free radicals damage your cells over time, so unopposed free radicals causes premature aging, unwanted skin changes, and increases your risk of chronic diseases such as heart disease, type 2 diabetes, and cancers. Eating a diet rich in antioxidants reduces that oxidative stress. So foods high in antioxidants include things in the berry family. So many types of berries: blueberries, raspberries, strawberries, goji berries, cranberries, as well as pecans, kale, spinach, artichokes. So eating a handful of berries a day can do wonders for your health. Next, other than adding antioxidants to your diet, you can reduce your chance of developing hypertension, high cholesterol, and heart and stroke when you get older by making sure you eat omega-3 fatty acids, omega-3 fats. Omega-3 fats are healthy, polyunsaturated fats that help to lower your triglycerides, reduce inflammation, and promote brain and heart health. Triglycerides are a type of fat or lipid found in your blood. When you eat, your body converts any calories it doesn't need into triglycerides, and these triglycerides are stored in your fat cells. Later, triglycerides are released for energy between meals. Anyway, omega-3 can help reduce triglycerides in your body, and specific types of omega-3s are DHA, EPA found in algae, fish, and seafood, and ALA found in plants. Common sources of plant ALA include walnuts, chia seeds, flax seeds, hemp seed oil, and DHA is the most abundant omega-3 fat in the brain. The FDA notes that DHA and EPA both help to support brain function and development. Certain types of fish such as salmon, trout, mackerel, herring, sardines, and anchovies are rich in omega-3 fatty acids, including DHA. So try incorporating these foods into your diet regularly. Unfortunately, the popular white fish, including haddock, tilapia, and cod, are typically lower in essential fatty acids. In addition, frying fish lowers the content of omega-3 fatty acids in foods. Okay, let's move on to the next dietary tip. Try to start limiting extra sugar and sodium. Added sugar is problematic for your arteries and for your heart. High blood sugar damages the endothelium or inner lining of the blood vessels, and this decreases the nitric oxide, which is required to help your vessels relax and expand. Without it, the vessels become narrow and the flow of blood in them decreases to your key organs like your heart and brain. In your 20s, you might get away with taking in all sorts of sugar, or so you think you do. Things like soda pop, dessert coffees, fruit juices have a lot of concentrated sugar. But as you do this over time, your arteries will suffer. And if you don't watch what you do, you may ultimately develop diseases like hypertension, diabetes, coronary artery diseases, and strokes. The World Health Organization recommends limiting added sugar intake to roughly 25 grams or 6 teaspoons per day. For salt, sodium, stick to 2,300 milligrams, about 1 teaspoon of salt a day. The global average salt intake is estimated to be more than 4.5 times the recommended intake. So taking more than 2 teaspoons a day increases your risk of heart and stroke. Too much salt increases your blood pressure by drawing more water into your bloodstream. This can lead to hypertension, which stiffens and narrows the blood vessels. The high pressure against the vessel causes damage to the inside lining of the arteries. Atherosclerosis can occur where plaques start to build up in your arteries. These plaques are essentially deposits made up of cholesterol, fatty substances, cellular waste products, calcium, and fibrin, which is a clotting material in your blood. And as the plaques build up, the blood vessels become thickened and narrow, and this can block off blood and oxygen flow to key organs. And so the heart tries to pump blood throughout the body harder, which further increases blood pressure. You can reduce your intake of fats and healthy lipids by filling your meals with leafy greens and fiber, especially in the form of beans or legumes, as well as things that are good for your gastrointestinal microbiome, such as modest amounts of sauerkraut, kimchi, and yogurt. You've already learned a lot about gut health in episode 9 of Health is Happiness, so you can refer back to that segment if you need more of a refresher on details of how it helps you with reducing inflammation and unwanted weight. So eat more antioxidants, omega-3s, leafy greens, vegetables and fibers, and things for your gut health. Eat less sugar and salt, and choose low-fat, low-cholesterol foods that reduce blood pressure issues and the buildup of plaques in your blood vessels. The next health tip to do in your 20s is to exercise more, not necessarily harder. Everyone knows that exercise can help keep your heart healthy, keep your weight down, and reduce stress. But fewer people know that exercise doesn't have to be intense to be beneficial. We're all learning that's probably high volume, low to moderate intensity movement that is associated with longevity. So don't think of exercise like an entree you get once a day. Instead, treat it like a garnish you sprinkle on every meal, all day long. Cumulative exercise counts. Move whenever you can. Can you have a standing or walking meeting instead of a seated meeting? Great. If you parked further away, great, that counts too. If you can find stairs, embrace them. Are you located on the 20th floor? Well, you don't have to take all 20 floors, but make a habit of getting off on the 17th floor and building up from there. Don't discount any type of physical activity. As we learned from Julius in episode 5 of Health and Happiness, where he talks about building healthy habits, it's more important to have exercise goals that are realistic, something you can incorporate into your lifestyle, something that is sustainable that you can do consistently for a long time. So today we're out of time, so I'm going to wrap up here. But there are more health tips for the 20s to 30s age group that I want to share with you. These include spending time in nature, getting vitamin D, limiting screen time, avoiding substances, getting adequate sleep, and developing good coping strategies for stress. We'll go over these in more detail on the next episode of Health is Happiness.
And thank you so much, Dr. Zinni, for another wonderful episode of Health is Happiness. Hope you guys really enjoyed that. And of course, yes, for all of you in your 20s, what you do in your 20s is going to affect your 30s and 40s. So everyone, please do as much as you can to take care of your health. And please listen to these health tips too. All right. So there it is, guys. That is the end of today's Wednesday podcast. Hope you guys had an amazing and awesome time, just as I did. Enjoy your wonderful day. Make sure you get those questions in for tomorrow's Q&A Thursday. And we'll see you guys again tonight. Not tonight. We'll see you guys again. Tonight. Have a wonderful Wednesday service. And we'll see you guys again tomorrow on the Morning Star Drive on 117.8.
It's the Morning Star Drive 117.8. You soaring up with sky, now's the time, don't delay. I'm sitting in my ride and it's time to fly. So let's realign, just listen and fill your mind.
I'm burning with desire and the passion. Nobody can stop me when I'm like this. I got my head in the zone, you know. I'm on the Morning Star